Hi, I'm Ruthmary Allison, and I'd like to sing a song tonight called My Get Up and Go. Now, this poem was written in the 1930s, and Pete Seeger and the Weavers sang it in the 70s, so you may be familiar with it. How do I know my youth is all spent? My get up and go has got up and went. For in spite of it all, I'm able to grin and think of the places my get up has been. Old age is golden, so I've heard said, but sometimes I wonder as I crawl into bed, with my ears in the drawer and my teeth in the cup, my eyes on the shelf until I wake up. As sleep dims my eyes, I say to myself, is there anything else I should put on the shelf? For nations are warring and business is vexed. I still stick around and see what happens next. How do I know my youth is all spent? My get up and go has gone up and went. For in spite of it all, I'm able to grin and think of the places my get up has been. When I was young, my slippers were red. I could kick my heels right over my head. Then I was older, my slippers were blue, but still I could dance the whole night through. Now I'm older, my slippers are black. I huff to the store and I puff my way back. But never you mind, I don't mind at all. I'd rather be puffin' than not huff at all. How do I know my youth is all spent? My get up and go has gone up and went. For in spite of it all, I'm able to grin and think of the places my get up has been. Wake up each morning, dust off my wits. I open the paper and read the obits. And if I'm not there, well, I know I'm not dead. I eat a good breakfast and go back to bed. How do I know my youth is all spent? My get up and go has gone up and went. For in spite of it all, I'm able to grin and think of the places. I remember the places. You know those places. All those places my get up has been. Thank you. Let me put my picks away. This is a story that I heard at a storytelling conference. I don't really remember the name, but I'm pretty sure it's called True Love. Once there was, and once there wasn't, and once there was not so long ago, a young man who really wanted to get married but could not find the right girl. He determined that if he could find a girl who would do just what he said, he would marry her. Well, he was at a party and had his teacup, and a young woman came around and was pouring tea, and he said to her, "I will have a half cup of tea, please." And she poured him exactly a half a cup of tea and walked away. He thought, wow, she must be the one I'm looking for. That must be the woman I should marry. She did exactly what I asked. And so he found out what her name was, and he began to date her, and it turned out they had quite a bit in common. And it wasn't too long before he asked her to marry him, and they were married. They had a good life. she asked him on their honeymoon, why did you ask me out that first time? And he said, I'll tell you later. I will tell you next year. Well, on their first anniversary, she asked again, and he said, oh, it's not quite time. They were married for 25 years, and he never would tell her. They were married for 50 years. And finally, on their 50th anniversary, she said, please, I really, really want to know what made you ask me out that very first time. Well, I'll tell you, I had said I would marry a woman who did just what I asked her to do. And the very first time I met you, you poured me exactly a half cup of tea. Just what I asked for. She laughed and laughed and laughed. Oh, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard, she said, because, you see, I only had a half cup of tea in my teapot, and I went back to the kitchen to get the rest, and by then you were already gone. But they had lived happily ever after.